All right, another random video, I guess we'll call it. I don't know, I haven't come up with a title yet, but I got this delivered to me yesterday, at least as of the recording of this video. And you might be thinking, what could be in there? Well, we're going to find out together. I mean, I know what's in here, but, gotta play it up for the audience. And make sure there's no packing slip or anything. There is. Hang on. All right, I think I got everything out. Let's take a look. Hey, it's just PLA filament for a 3D printer. Except it comes from Polar Filament, and if that sounds familiar to you, this is probably why, as I pull out the next one. This one doesn't even have a label on it properly with a name. However, this one, because I ordered it, is known as Power Gray. And I have another one in here. This one here is known as Retro Platinum. And if those sound familiar to you, that's because these were done in collaboration with Joe from Joe's Computer Museum to try and recreate some of the plastic the colored plastic that Apple used in some of their older machines, such as PowerBooks and Beige Macs. So, and then I also picked up a spool of white because I don't have white, and also if I ordered a little bit more, I got free shipping. So, figured why not? But these are the ones that really interested me because even though this is going to be themed off of Apple, it's probably a closer beige to a lot of retro computers than even something like this, like I picked up from Amazon. This particular one is from Elegoo, where this beige is like a more of a reddish beige. So still could come in handy because even though a lot of machines in the 80s and 90s were beige, they weren't necessarily consistent beige. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at these a little bit closer. And at least this one, for sure I can match up with a PowerBook because I've got a 3400C. We'll see how close this one comes to like a Mac Plus or even just a beige PC. All right, so we'll start, like I said, here with the Power Gray because it'll be the easiest from here right now to be able to compare with the original color. And it is like a blackish color, but I know it's not black. It's just a really dark gray, like a charcoal gray, or like I said, they called this Power Gray. I don't know what Apple called it. If I find it online, I will let you guys know. For those that don't know what this is, it's a battery for a PowerBook 3400C. It has a little bit of capacity left on there, but let's see. It's hard to tell on camera just because of the lighting and everything, but it's kind of close. It's not going to be exact, probably because, even though this is like a grayish color, almost black, like I said, like a charcoal gray, it also can succumb to yellowing, unfortunately, due to bromides and everything in the plastic. So let me undo a little bit of this filament here. And let's see. That's pretty darn close. Again, I don't have high quality video equipment, so it might be tough to tell, but I'd say that's pretty close. I need to print something though with it because it's going to be a little bit easier to tell because of the fact that the filament is round. It's casting shadows and reflecting more than, the battery itself is. And it just so happens I do have something that I would like to print. And no, it's not the main reason I bought this. I just wanted to buy it because it'd be kind of neat to have it. However, while my PowerBook 3400C does have the back flap, it does not have the ADB cover, and there is a model available. Hopefully it'll work. The original designer said, I don't have one of these, so I just had to wing it. So we'll see if it actually works or not. But the other reason I got it is, as you see here, it's already starting to succumb to brittle plastic because just about every PowerBook from the 90s is going to suffer from that, unfortunately. And on top of that, unfortunately, I believe the hinges may be also broken, at least the screw post, because there's a crack there. Now, to my knowledge, no one's created any 3D models of this yet, so, and I'm not anywhere near good enough to be able to create my own. nor is my 3D printer large enough to be able to do so. However, in the event that ever does happen, I've got some filament to do that. Now, possibility is I could always try and just cut this section out and print that. Might be a little bit easier to do. We'll see. And actually, I just realized that there is another crack here starting down there. So yeah, brittle plastic, everyone. Be very careful with your retro equipment. Now let's take a look at what they are calling the retro platinum, and we will see how that compares with, well, the equivalent. All right. Retro platinum. I mean, it kind of has like a beigeish grayish color to it, so let's compare it with the Apple Mouse 2E model number A2M2070. That's pretty darn close as well. Wonder how it holds up against a PC mouse. So I've got my NEC mouse here. This is just a rebadged Logitech mouse. That's pretty close too. Again, I'm picking up a reflection, unfortunately, but so this will be a good match for some retro PC stuff. Not necessarily all of them, but some of them. If we look at the NEC speaker here. It's pretty close. So that's actually good because not sure if you guys had a chance yet to watch my latest video where I put a CD burner in my NEC PC. I do have a Gotek in there, but the mount is kind of messed up because when I was trying to cut out the hole for the OLED display, I made it a little too large. I wasn't paying attention and I filed down too much. Plus, I'd like to do a rotary encoder mod, putting a little knob on there to make it easier to switch between images. So I need to 3D print a replacement bracket for it. So this will come in handy for that. So I'm really glad that I was able to get this because this is probably closer to most retro beige that I've seen. I'm not going to show on camera here because it's heavy and everything, but it's pretty close in color to the front bezel of the IBM 5150. It's not quite so much any of the other stuff that I've got in here because they have yellowed a little bit or they're just a different color beige altogether. I do want to print that ADB port cover for the PowerBook 3400C, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get the filament loaded up in my printer and get the STL loaded up and have it create the G-code and all of that, and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, and I've pre-recorded some footage of the print going on. It was only a 6-minute print, 6.5, something like that, so not a big deal. And it came out. I'm going to go ahead and break off the supports and everything, so I'll be back. So it didn't come out perfect, but that's a me problem, not necessarily a problem with the filament, though. The filament does say to print at 215 and have the bed set at 60, and I noticed some stringing, so I set that to 65 for the bed and 225 for the extruder. And this is because I had it facing flat like that. I was kind of hoping originally that it would be able to pick up the texture from the print bed, but because this piece is kind of curved, it wasn't going to be able to lay flat, so I had to add supports to it anyway. I may try printing it, vertically like that, but we'll still see if it'll fit or not. All right, let's see. It fits, and it opens, and yeah, because of the messed up face here, it's reflecting some light, so it's kind of hard to tell, but it does color match pretty accurately. A little bit of a better angle. It's still reflecting light, but it is color matching. Let me print another one. Like I said, I'll try to print it vertically, see if I can eliminate some of this here. I'm not great at 3D printing. Stuff like this happens to me all the time, but I usually don't care because it's stuff that goes inside of things that you never see. Because this is visible, I kind of want it to look a little bit better. But it fits, so let me try again. Alright, so I got the new one printed. Much better looking. The side is the side that was laying on the print bed itself. Still says ADB in the middle there. And just to compare it again with the old one, that didn't come out as nice. Now we'll see if it fits. Okay. think I got it. There we go. Color-wise, yeah, it's going to look a little different because the texture is going to be different than the original texture, and again, the plastic might have yellow a little bit, but I think that'll do just fine. So, let me go ahead and print that GoTech mount out of the other filament. We'll see how that looks like, and then we'll wrap this up. Alright, and I started to put it all together before I realized I needed to film some footage for this, but I went ahead and printed out the replacement GoTech bracket. There's a couple of imperfections on there, but it's my fault. First one is this here, it looks like it's melted. That's because I melted it. So I initially printed it this way because I wanted the texture from the print plate, the build plate, and kind of make it match a little bit better with, you know, that retro plastic aesthetic. And because I printed it this way, you can see there's a little bit of, I don't know what you call it, but there's lines that are visible because obviously that's how the printer prints. And I tried to take a mini blowtorch to try to melt it a little bit, but smooth it out, and it didn't quite work. But that's not the problem of the filament. The other thing is, if you're going to print it this way, you're going to have to use supports, and I'm going to have to adjust my Z-axis because I use tree supports, and it turns out that some of them end up getting knocked over during the print. I didn't pay attention, and I mean, overall it came out okay, but there's some minor imperfections you can see here, as well as probably more visible in the back. Again, not the fault of the filament, it is my own fault. Color-wise, I like the way it looks. Printed the top half of the shell, I just printed it like that, so it's not going to have as many of those imperfections in there. In fact, the top half came out very well. Very strong, very durable. So, I'm impressed with it. And then again, it does have that retro PC color look to it. Only hopefully it won't yellow over time. So all in all, I'm very impressed with the color of the filaments. They do seem to match their intended purposes, and then some. Like I said, this one here is going to be very beneficial for a lot of the retro computing stuff that I do, since I do a lot of stuff with PCs that are, well, beige. So, and being able to print a port cover for my PowerBook 3400C is amazing, and if anyone is ever brave enough to start designing replacement components for this laptop, that would be great, because then I can print those out, because like I said, I do have that problem in the corner over here with it being cracked and the hinges and everything. Anyway, just my initial thoughts as a very, very novice 3D printer. I don't adjust, prints on the fly. I don't sit there and tweak settings every single time. I don't obsess over it. I just print stuff like this and all that. So most of the stuff I print end up not being visible, so I don't care about imperfections like this here. So go ahead and critique in the comments below, but that's just how I am. So, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people that bought 3D printers for retro computing needs and retro gaming and stuff like that probably do the same thing. So anyway, yeah, these filaments are great. I should have said this earlier if I haven't already. Not sponsored, I just bought them. So went ahead and ordered them. I'll put a link to them below. I forget which one, but one of these are sold out, at least as of the recording of this video. Hopefully more will be made. And that's that. So did you guys buy this filament at all? What were your thoughts on it? If not, and you have, retro PCs or retro PowerBooks and you need to print parts out for them, I highly recommend it because the color is a match. So thanks all. Catch you later.